The day I lost my son didn't start like a disaster. It started like any other Tuesday. Mikey was wearing his favorite dinosaur shirt, carefully matching the green in his sleeves to his socks, while I struggled to get him to eat more than 2 bites of cereal. That morning, he'd decided cereal was too crunchy. His aversions were part of our normal. Autistic routines are sacred, even when they make breakfast last 45 minutes. We were preparing for my niece Vanessa's wedding. I didn't want to go. I had a gut feeling, but I was trying to be part of the family. Mikey was doing his best to cope with the chaos of formal wear, loud people, and overstimulation. He was quiet, clutching his squish toy, staying close to me. That's his comfort zone next to Dad. And I stayed by his side, every second. Vanessa had made it clear. Mikey was not welcome at the ceremony. It's an adult-only wedding, she'd said. But she invited 3 flower girls, a ring bearer, and half a dozen kids from her fiancé's side. It wasn't about children, it was about my child. Still, we went to the rehearsal to be polite. And everything was fine until Vanessa exploded. One loud outburst from her, and Mikey started stimmying. Flapping his hands, rocking slightly, trying to self-soothe. She didn't care. She screamed at him, humiliated him in front of everyone. And when I tried to calm her down, she turned it on me, saying I was coddling him, that I used his diagnosis as an excuse. I took Mikey home. That night, I cried. Not because I was embarrassed, but because I knew something had changed. I could feel it in my gut. 3 days later, CPS knocked on my door. The visit was sudden, sharp, and terrifying. Mikey was watching one of his sensory videos on the tablet, wearing his noise-canceling headphones and humming to himself. I just sat down with coffee when the knock came. The woman at the door introduced herself as a CPS worker. She looked around, taking notes, asking questions that made my stomach twist. It wasn't just a wellness check, it was an investigation. The report, she told me, came from a concerned family member who claimed Mikey's environment was dangerous, that I was neglecting him, that he had outbursts in public and I failed to control them. Every word felt like a blade. I knew exactly who sent that report. Vanessa. She wasn't done punishing us. They took Mikey from me that day. I'll never forget the way he screamed when they pulled him away. "Daddy! I want my daddy!" he wailed. And I couldn't hold him. I couldn't even tell him it would be okay. I didn't know if it would. That night, I sobbed in my car until I couldn't breathe. The next 72 hours were a blur of paperwork, lawyers, and gut-wrenching silence. Elizabeth, my lawyer, was calm and razor-sharp. "We'll fight this," she said, already gathering letters from Mikey's doctors and therapists. Dr. Chun, his developmental pediatrician, wrote a statement so powerful it made me cry again, but this time out of hope. She confirmed that every single accommodation I had made at home, from the visual schedule board to the sensory toys, was not only appropriate but medically necessary. I forwarded her letter to Elizabeth immediately. Then came the kicker. My mom called. CPS had contacted her. They were inspecting her home to see if she could take Mikey temporarily. Temporarily. Progress maybe, but not enough. Vanessa wasn't done. She'd filed another complaint. I was livid. Called her. She answered. "What do you want?" she said with cold smugness. "I want to know why you're trying to take my son away from me." "I'm concerned for his well-being," she snapped. "He needs help, not you making excuses for his behavior." I couldn't speak. The rage made it hard to breathe. That night, I created a detailed timeline from the wedding to CPS. I sent everything to Elizabeth. We were going to court. The courthouse smelled like dust and anxiety. Elizabeth met me outside, her sharp navy suit making her look like justice personified. She handed me a copy of our packet, Dr. Chen's letter, Mikey's therapy schedule, support letters from his teacher and former babysitter, Morgan. Every page was a lifeline. Inside, Vanessa was already waiting. She wore a mask of concern, seated beside a woman I didn't recognize. Probably another person roped in to validate her lies. When she looked up and saw me, she smirked. I clenched my fists. The judge, an older man named Judge Williams, didn't look up as the hearing started. He read through the CPS report in silence while Elizabeth began speaking. Your Honor, my client is not an abuser. He's a dedicated father doing everything in his power to support a neurodivergent child in a world that doesn't understand him. These so-called concerning accommodations are medically prescribed strategies, backed by years of developmental research and multiple professionals. She passed copies of Dr. Chen's assessment forward. Mikey is thriving. Until now. The CPS worker testified next. She described my home, calm, organized, with visual tools and safe spaces, and admitted she had limited experience with autistic children. And did you consult with any specialists before making your judgment? Elizabeth asked. She hesitated. No, thank you, Elizabeth said, her voice like velvet steel. Then came Dr. Chen's voice, patched in over speakerphone. She walked the court through every therapy, every accommodation, every plan we had in place. I've had parents who refuse to adapt to their children's needs, she said. Mr. Williams has done the opposite. He's created a home that meets Mikey where he is. That's not neglect. That's love. I thought we were making progress. Until Vanessa took the stand. She played her part perfectly, solemn, composed, concerned. She described Mikey as aggressive, uncontrolled, and painted me as some delusional father incapable of discipline. She even claimed she saw me manhandle him. Elizabeth didn't let a second go to waste. Miss Johnson, is it true you called CPS less than 24 hours after Mr. Williams played a recording of Mikey at your wedding reception? Vanessa's eyes flickered. That's coincidental. And did you, or did you not explicitly tell people you didn't want Mikey at the wedding because of his autism? Vanessa squirmed. It was supposed to be an adult-only event. Elizabeth smiled coldly. Yet you had a flower girl, a ring bearer, and multiple other children in attendance. Vanessa flushed. You excluded Mikey specifically because of his disability. Objection. The CPS attorney called out. Sustained, said the judge. But he was staring at Vanessa now, frowning. Elizabeth kept going, chipping away at Vanessa's performance until it cracked. She revealed how little Vanessa actually knew about Mikey, how rarely she saw him, how the complaints were rooted in embarrassment, not concern. When it was over, Judge Williams called for a recess. 20 minutes of pacing, of sweating, of reliving every accusation in my head. Then the judge returned. I'm dismissing the emergency removal order, he said firmly. There is no indication of neglect or harm. In fact, the evidence reflects the opposite. I almost collapsed in my seat. But then he added, however, I'm ordering a follow-up home visit by a developmental specialist. Until then, the child will remain in temporary care with his grandmother, with full visitation for the father. Not a total win, but enough. That afternoon, I picked Mikey up from the foster home. The woman caring for him seemed kind, but tired. He's barely slept, she said gently. He keeps asking for you. And his room. When Mikey saw me, he didn't run. He froze, like he was afraid I wasn't real. Hey, buddy, I said, kneeling. We're going to Grandma's. His lip trembled. And you'll be there too? Every day, I promised. He flung his arms around me and burst into tears. That night, we set up his space at Mom's house. Familiar items, visual boards, his weighted blanket. I stayed on an air mattress next to his bed. Around midnight, I woke up to find him standing over me, crying softly. The mean lady took me away again, he whispered. I pulled him into my arms. Not anymore, I whispered. No one's ever taking you again. The next morning, the specialist scheduled for our follow-up visit called. Dr. Ramirez. She sounded warm, confident, and experienced. The opposite of the first CPS worker. We set the visit for 2 days later. That evening, I got a text from an unknown number. Check your email. You need to see this. The message had no name. I opened the email and found a video attachment. And what I saw made my blood run cold. Footage from Vanessa's wedding, filmed by someone across the room, capturing everything from my speech to her reaction. You could clearly see her, red-faced, whispering angrily, pointing at me. Then she pulled out her phone, typed something, and showed it to a guest. The timestamp was 9:47 p.m. The CPS call was made at 9:52. She reported me from her own wedding reception. I forwarded the video to Elizabeth. Her reply came immediately, "Bingo. Who sent this? I didn't know." I replied to the unknown number. "Who is this?" The answer made me drop my phone. "Thomas. Vanessa's husband."
I'm sorry.
I tried to stop her. I didn't know whether to trust Thomas. Was this real remorse or a trap? "Why are you helping me?" I asked. "Because what she's doing is wrong." She even convinced her bridesmaid to lie to CPS. I called Elizabeth. "If he's willing to provide a statement, this could be huge," she said. "But be careful. If she finds out he's cooperating." I messaged him again. "Would you testify?" "I'll think about it. But she can't know it was me." 2 days later, Dr. Ramirez visited our home. She was incredible, warm, knowledgeable, and engaging with Mikey. She let him show her his room, his toys, his schedule. She watched us communicate, asking thoughtful questions. "You've built a remarkable environment," she said before leaving. "My report will reflect that." That night, another text from Thomas. "She knows someone sent you the video. She's furious. Be careful." I didn't even have time to respond before my phone rang. It was Jordan, the CPS caseworker. "We received another report about you." My stomach dropped. "This one accuses you of over-medicating Mikey to sedate him." I was shaking. "That's completely false. Every medication is prescribed by Dr. Chun." "I believe you," Jordan said. "We're not acting on this report. But I wanted to warn you. Vanessa's getting desperate." Elizabeth decided it was time to escalate. "We're updating the cease and desist to include Vanessa's entire immediate family," she said. "Let's build the record." I agreed. Meanwhile, I told Mom everything about the new report, about Thomas, about Uncle Charles getting involved. Her face went hard. "I'm calling a family meeting," she said. "This ends now." We gathered that Sunday. The whole extended family showed up. Uncles, cousins, aunts I hadn't spoken to in years. Drama travels fast. Vanessa arrived with her parents. Her face fell when she saw the crowd. Mom laid it out. All of it. The accusations. The false reports. The smear campaign. She passed around documents. Dr. Ramirez's glowing report. The cease and desist. The timeline of every attack. Vanessa's lies began to crumble when her own bridesmaid broke ranks. "She's right," she said quietly. "Mikey didn't do anything. Vanessa overreacted." Vanessa gasped. "You bitch." "Enough," a voice said at the door. It was Thomas. He stepped beside me. "You need to stop lying, Vanessa. You got your dad involved. You convinced Jenna to lie to CPS. You've destroyed this family for your ego." One by one, the family turned on her. Uncle James, Aunt Maria, even cousins I barely knew stood up. When Vanessa tried to leave, Mom blocked the door. "One more lie, one more report, and we'll take legal action. Do you understand me?" Vanessa didn't respond. She just walked out, face pale, her parents trailing behind. A week later, Elizabeth called. "We have written statements from Vanessa, her father, and her mother. All three have agreed to cease contact and communication. One more step and we sue." "So, it's over?" "It's over." I looked out the window. Mikey was in the yard, crouched over a patch of grass, studying a beetle with a magnifying glass. Totally in his element. We were safe, and somehow closer than ever. The very nightmare Vanessa had tried to trap us in had forged something stronger. Family, allies, and a community finally willing to see and support Mikey for who he was. 2 months later, we went to a family barbecue. Mikey hesitated at first, clinging to my hand, until Aunt Maria's daughter ran up and grabbed him. "Come play in the sprinkler. It's splashy." He gave me a look. I nodded, and he ran. For the first time in a long time, I felt peace. Thank you so much for listening to our story. If this emotional journey moved you even a little, please leave a comment. We'd love to hear your thoughts. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell so you never miss another story from Kindle Stories. Because some stories deserve to be heard.